Welcome, everyone, to this week's Saturday Sensing offering by the Foundation, the Sensory Awareness Foundation. Today, I am honored to introduce Lee Klinger Lesser and experience her guiding of our practice today. Lee has asked us to bring an object from nature that touches our heart as part of the leading that she wants to do today, as well as something to write with and write upon. So if you haven't already gathered that item, I invite you to do that now as I hand the torch over to Lee. Dear Lee, thank you so much for leading today, and I just so excited to have you here.
Thanks a lot, Ruth. And it's wonderful to see people I haven't seen for such a long time. It feels great to see you and to meet people I don't know. My website right now does not have the new courses up there. I'm in the process of deciding them. But you can go on the website and you can sign up for the mailing list if you're not on it. And then in the next few weeks, my workshops for this coming year will be up there. And my first Substack newsletter, I just transferred over to Substack. So that's how you can find out if you're interested. And I'm so grateful to the foundation for sustaining this practice and supporting this practice that has been foundational in my life. And, as we are facing such critical times, it feels so important to have this ability to return to our senses as resource to be present. And for me, sensory awareness is essentially an invitation to wake up and to respond to whatever the moment or the situation is asking of us. To me, that's the fundamental ground of sensory awareness, is that we live with awareness, that we wake up and we live a responsive life to what's needed. So to me, we can't wake up if we're not looking at what's happening on our planet, if we're not looking at what we're doing and the impact for all the generations to come. So we have this opportunity to respond and to respond with love, not with despair, not with avoidance, but to respond from our deepest hearts and to respond with love for life, love for the people we care about, love for all that we treasure. So that's what I'd like to dedicate our time for. Katharine Hayhoe, who is a climate scientist, sent out a newsletter. I think I got it this morning, and she said, every day has to be Earth Day. 50% of the air we breathe comes from phytoplankton in the ocean and seaweed. The other 50% comes from plants and trees. The water we drink is part of the earth. The food we eat is part of the earth. Every day is Earth Day, and we are interconnected, completely interconnected. So if you can find the object that you brought and just put it in front of you. And then let your eyes close. And just notice how you're arriving into this time, into this moment of community with each other, into connecting with the aliveness that you are right here. Nothing you have to do to be alive. Life is moving you. You are life. Life is you. And just noticing the experience of this moment. Even in the midst of urgency, How do we slow down and honor the stillness and the gift of being right here with nothing to do in this moment? How do you experience being breathed? Could it be a wonder? Every movement of air coming in and going out is fresh and could be a surprise. Is there gentleness around your lips and jaw? Even the possibility of letting your mouth, perhaps, find a smile of welcome to this simple moment. No matter if there's any uncomfortable place, it's just being present. Living each tiny little change that comes by itself. When we don't have to fix ourselves, we just offer our own presence to the experience of this moment, just as it is. Can you notice if there's any sense of balance between the front of you and the back of you? Does your sitting change in any way that allows the ease that's possible through the front of you and the ease that's possible through the back of you? Is there even the slightest possibility of smiling in your shoulders? Of responding to the movement of breath in your shoulders? And with your eyes closed, can you reach out to find this object that you brought? And just feel how it is to come in touch with this manifestation of life in the natural world. And this manifestation of life in the natural world that you are. How is it to come into touch? How is it to feel its texture? Its shape? to feel all that's contributed to forming whatever this is that you're holding. What conditions have brought this into your hands right now? And what happens if you bring this expression of nature into contact somewhere on you, besides your hands, where you might be able to hold it against your chest or your head or your belly or wherever you're called? This expression of nature meeting the expression of nature that you are. And just noticing how breathing responds and how you respond. Is there any influence of this contact? And just feeling your own curiosity, following your own curiosity to bring this object into contact anywhere. And just notice what responds. Can you live the meeting just as it is? Can you feel what it touches in your heart, what you've chosen to bring this morning? And how you found this, where you found it, how it came to be a part of your life. And can you notice if there's any place in you that might be softening even the slightest bit as you come into contact, as you perhaps welcome this contact? And can you notice if there's any place in you that tightens in any way or braces in any way? Just having the curiosity to be present for whatever you're experiencing. Be present to whatever responds in the midst of connecting. And if you haven't already, what happens if you let your eyes open and you see what it is you brought with you? And then putting it down somewhere where you can still see it. You could touch it still if you want to. Can you find your paper and your writing implement? And just take a moment to come in touch with them. And feel where they came from. What conditions have brought them here to you? And then, can you live the experience of writing so it's not a task to complete? Perhaps there's a difference between living the experience of writing and a task to complete. But can you feel what words arise, or phrases, or sentences, in connecting with what you love about what you brought? And just writing, what is it that you love? What touches your heart? And how does it feel to write this? To be in touch with what you love, what touches your heart. To wonder about the air, the water, the fire, whatever has brought these objects into being, present here with you now. The earth. How many changes this object has gone through in its life. And can you notice how your breathing is breathing you here? Is breathing part of the living experience of writing? And then can you bring whatever you're writing to a close and just pause? And feel how it is to be present right here. And maybe there's a word that you've written in the midst of the other words, or maybe there's another word that comes. Just one word that touches your heart here in this moment. One word from this living experience. And when you have that word, can you write it with your non-dominant hand? And just write it, and you might write it a few times, maybe once, maybe a few times, maybe big, maybe small. Just writing that word and feeling, how is it to write this word in the freshness of the living experience, and not how it looks, but how you're experiencing connecting with whatever this word is. And when you're ready, with your non-dominant hand, can you type it into the chat? Just this one word. And even as you're typing, Can you live the experience of typing and not just complete the task? But can you live the experience of typing, of the connection with whatever this word is? And have a chance to see the words that are present with all of us. How it is to read them, write them, live them. B-Day, alive, cling, wood, home, softening, plants, magical, saudades, raw, flowing, concentrated, living, loving, flow, daughters, soothing, changes, love, immersion, steps, amazement, kindness, awake, merging, warmth, willing, blooming, care, smarth, smooth warmth, glory, humility, connection, pulling me up, holding, kindness, vulnerability, presence, love. And just taking a moment to feel whatever you're experiencing right here, right now. Letting your eyes close if that interests you. And once again, what happens if there's nothing you have to do? You allow this connection with what is waking up here in the meeting with this moment, with what's in your heart, with this love for life and nature. Can you feel how breathing is breathing you now? This interconnection with all the phytoplankton and seaweed, with the trees and the plants. Is there any experience of as you're breathing in, as breath is breathing you in? Any living experience with all that makes this oxygen possible? And as you're breathing out, any connection with all that's connected through these molecules of air. And then, can you allow yourself to feel what concerns you about what's happening to the ocean where our oxygen comes from, to the trees and plants where our oxygen comes from? What's in your heart as you feel what concerns you about what's happening now on this home, our earth? And can you take some time to write whatever words or phrases or sentences express this concern? And as you're writing, can you feel how breathing is breathing you? Is it possible to write whatever's of concern without bracing against it? If you've noticed that you're bracing or tightening or holding your breath, can you pause? Can you be in touch with whatever's present in the living connection and influence of the meeting? Maybe it's just one word, or maybe it's many. But can you not fulfill a task? Can you live the experience of coming in touch with what you're writing, with what's present for you? And can you notice what's happening in your jaw and your lips? What's happening in the base of your skull, in your belly? Can you feel, even as you may be writing or you may simply be feeling, whatever's of concern? Can you feel how you're connected to this earth through what your feet are touching? What you're sitting on, and what you're being held by? And if you allow a pause, and just notice how you're experiencing whatever you're experiencing now. Is there any softness possible in your throat, through the length of your spine? And if there's one word that comes to you now, just discovering what one word is here, connected to whatever you've written, to what's present right now. And can you write that word with your non-dominant hand? Once or many times, small or large, but living the experience of writing this word feeling this word. Are your toes clenching, or is there any gentleness possible in your toes? What happens in your belly as you live this connection with this word? And then can you type this word into the chat with your non-dominant hand and live the experience of typing this word and seeing what appears.
Can you prompt me again on the word?
Whatever word comes from what you had written just before, whatever word comes from your own concern about what might ever be happening on the planet or in life, whatever word is present, no right or wrong. Symbol, sharing, and just noticing what happens in you. Can you receive what's here without having to do anything, without having to shut yourself off? Or if you are, to be present with that. Overwhelmed, innovate, compassion, lies, sadness, me, lost, palpitating, sadness, rest, extend, waves, burning, stricken, birdsong, take good care of the planet, sorrow, earth, fragile, healing, gentle, stifled, discomfort, anxious, genocide, resting, living, release, belonging, water, engage, barrier, aliveness, promise, honor, helpless, separate and sad. And noticing what's your experience in this moment. Is it possible to allow your heart to be open for what you love, what brings you alive in this living connection, and what concerns you and what saddens you? How is breathing you here with both? And can you once again pick up your object? And feel how you come in touch right here How is it to feel what's supporting you here? How does what you love meet this deep concern? And if you bring this object again to some place in you where you're longing for contact, how is it to live this contact? And can you live the contact with whatever's here without shutting down to it? And maybe you bring this object to one other place if there's interest for you. And feel how breathing is breathing you here. And notice if in your thighs, in your legs, in your feet, through the depth of your shoulder blades, through the expanse of your shoulders. And you notice how you offer yourself to the support that's holding you. To feel, what is this moment asking of you? How does your love for life want to express itself? And can you think about a child that you love and feel how they are present with you right now? What opens in you in feeling the presence of this child? Does anything in you soften as you feel their presence? Can you think about how old they will be in 30 years from now? And just name that age to yourself. How old will they be in 30 years from now? And can you think about what conditions they may be faced with from what concerns you? And just allow yourself, if you can, to notice if anything in you tightens or braces as you think about that. And how you're being held right now by the support that's under you, by breath that's breathing you, by this opportunity of being alive right here, right now, in the midst of all that's happening. You are here alive, able to find whatever way your love for life can express itself. And can you take some time to discover, if you write, how your love for life wants to express itself, without having to figure it out or have something right or wrong. Just let yourself write. How does your love for life want to express itself? Thinking about what you treasure and have brought from nature. Thinking about a child that you love. How does thinking about what concerns you? How does your love for life want to express itself? Just discover what comes. Can you not have to have an answer, but just feel what wants to be written or expressed? In allowing the living experience, not the completion of a task. The living experience of how your love for life wants to express itself. And noticing what you're experiencing as you're writing. Is there any living experience of the movement of breath through the back of you? From the base of your skull down to your sitting bones. From the depth of your face down through the front of you to your pubic bones. Through the expanse of your hips and pelvis. Through the full length of your legs. The depth of your feet. How is it to connect in this moment with how your love for life wants to express itself? And if you pause, Just notice what's present here. If there's any place in you tightening or holding. Any place in you softening or opening. Any energy that's moving right here in this moment. And can you find, perhaps it's a sentence that you wrote, or a phrase, or perhaps it's a sentence or phrase that appears just right now. That connects with the essence of what's important to you here in this moment, from what you've written or what you feel. And with your non-dominant hand, can you live the experience of typing it into the chat as a loving offering, as a loving expression of how your love for life wants to express itself? How do you offer that to each other? Can breathing be present for you as you're typing this into the chat? Can you let yourself simply be present with whatever's here? Listen, expanding, breathing, being kind. I want to be angry. Kindness to all living things. Stopping plastic's use here. Dancing fearlessly. Experience connection. That fundamental love for life. Respond from love versus self-centeredness. To sanctify the moments, don't waste it. Being the light. Smiles and hugs. Kinship. I want to feel good, and that will just ripple out to whoever, whatever I come across. No wars, no genocides, peace, balance, kindness, and love. Bright drops, gratefulness, modesty. Have true fun as a way of honoring life. Be with the process, not the end task. Art is grounded in the womb. Heart breathing. That all beings, young and old, have access to the richness and the beauty of life. Trust in healing. Here and now. Caring with creativity. Being with now. The silence in love's heart. Bright drops on dead leaves promise greenery. celebrating with whole heart, willing to breathe with what is here, live as love in and through. I hope that you will honor and feel the importance of what life is asking from each one of us, and that we can come from how our love wants to express itself, and that also we wake up to find how we can respond. And I want to leave you with some resources that I just put into the chat. I suggest, if you can, copying them if they interest you. There's a wonderful program called The Week. It's all of these are free. It's done so thoughtfully, and it's meant for you to do with a group of other people. So you watch 3 videos, hour-long videos within 1 week or 10 days. You set up the timing, but maybe it's with a few friends or people you're leading or whatever. And they have wonderful resources of what's happening and how we can respond. So it's meant for you to watch the video and then dialogue with each other. So it brings us out of our own internal experience into connection with others. So I highly, highly recommend it. And then Choosing Earth, Humanity's Journey of Initiation Through Breakdown and Collapse to Mature Planetary Community. You can download a free PDF of this book. It's also translated into 6 other languages. He's a futurist, and I feel like he's very wise and gives wonderful, important information. And there's also a documentary that the people from Choosing Earth have put together, which is also, to me, very important. So that link is also there. So I encourage you to take advantage of these resources. And there's so many out there, but I also feel like it's so important that we can come from our own sense of love and aliveness, not despair, and not withdrawal. That we find out, how do we take our next steps that we each can take in this opportunity to respond. So wonderful to see many old friends and to be with all of you who are here. And if any of you are interested in, I'll also put my email in the chat. If any of you are interested in knowing more about the workshops I'll be giving this year, feel free to email me or go onto my website and sign up on the mailing list. And to me, it's so important what we were doing this morning, that we really honor and wake up to what's happening, and we choose life, and we give everything we can to it. We're all needed very much. So wonderful to see and be with you, and anyone who wants to stay to share anything about what you experienced or connect with each other, please feel free to do that.